Do you ever feel like everyone around you is having struggles? It seems like the market has been tough, but it's more than that. It's personal issues here. It's financial issues here. It's business issues over here. And have you ever thought, like, why does this seem to be almost an epidemic within the real estate agent world that we live in? Well, I'm here to bring Michelle Roderick to you, a friend of mine who I met a couple years back at EXPCon. I happen to be her very first Instagram follower on Ask the General, and she has grown that to almost 10,000 followers at this time. But the personal resilience she has gone through and her drive to help agents, and this one thing that she realized that agents just don't do, may very well be the core problem that we're trying to get into here. And if you like what we have to say, we are partnering together as sponsor and co-sponsor to help you as an agent succeed in all things business. So if you're interested in partnering with myself and Michelle, you like what she has to say, you think I'm okay, please book a call to reagentwolfpack.com. The link is below, and mention Michelle's name when we chat, and we can come together as your sponsors and bring you into this amazing company. But for now, let's get to the interview. You don't want to miss it, because honestly, even I was like, aha, that's crazy. While you're here, like, comment, subscribe, but let's go. What is up, everybody? Just like I said in the intro, we have my good friend Michelle Roderick here from California, and she is here to talk to you about all the things, getting over plateaus, overcoming very difficult things. Michelle, thanks so much for coming on. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you. It's slightly sunny outside here in Cali. Can't complain.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for popping on. And I am super stoked for this. A little history about Michelle and I. She came up to me at EXPCon a few years ago and told me that I was her very first follower on Instagram. Since then, my Instagram has gotten deleted and I've had to start over, and she has ultimately 5 to 10x to my follower rate. So that's kind of cool. That's how we kind of connected. Great collaboration moving forward from that point. And so just a little fun fact there. How many followers you got on Instagram now, Michelle?
Oh my gosh, it's like 8,000, I think, the last time I checked. So it's doing all right.
Pretty good. From the ground up.
Yeah.
1A right here. So even beat her best friend and her partners and all the things. So pretty cool there. So let's kind of get into this. And you have done so much within your real estate career with, the production side, and now more coaching and moving agents forward. So let's talk a little bit about plateaus and kind of what you've built your value on for agents and for, your clients. So, tell me what drew you to that point. Tell me what, how you got kind of started and why you decided to go down this route.
Well, thank you so much. I'm just so grateful to be here, because it was actually 2 years ago only that I met you. So a lot has changed in such a short period of time. And I feel incredibly blessed to just know people like you and be able to be, like, one of my goals is to co-sponsor with you here in the very near future, if not this year, definitely 2026. And so very exciting journey, right? I would just say, starting off, like, before I even got into real estate, I was in pharmaceutical sales. So I had a very successful career in that industry. And I feel like I can confidently say that most people in pharmaceutical sales have a really good background in strategic selling, because we are selling to, like, the most intelligent people in the world, physicians and surgeons. And so I had that background and was top 1% in the world. I received an international sales award and won a trip to Europe. So I had a great career. And when I became a mother, I decided to retire and be a stay-at-home mom, and moved to investment property that we had in Mariposa, which is just outside Yosemite National Park. And that is where I met my best friend, Courtney Twist, who is a broker. And when she learned about my background in pharmaceutical sales, she's immediately said, "You should become a real estate agent." And I said, "Absolutely not. Why would I want to do that?" And I sort of kind of still feel the same way. It's a hard job. And so I knew that. And I said, I'm not interested in doing that, but I will help you. She started her brokerage, just her and I and one other agent, in her mobile home kitchen, the kitchen in her mobile home. And we grew that office to almost 50 agents and 3 brick and mortar. So I just give you that background because I think it's important to understand that it took a lot to build that. And then it also took a lot to acknowledge perhaps the plateau that you're speaking of. As an independent brokerage, sure, it was going well. Sure, we built a great brand. We had an incredible team, and we had a lot of wonderful things. But at some point, you reach that plateau, and you have to like acknowledge, what are we going to do to stay ahead of the industry and the things that are changing? How are we going to give things and resources and trainings and all the things to our people in a much bigger way? I mean, I can go on and on and on. I'm just trying to like touch on that plateau because I think it's important that we had to make some tough decisions. And ultimately through looking at all kinds of things. Should we acquire another brokerage? Should we merge with somebody? Should we go to a different cloud brokerage? Ultimately, we chose EXP, which was never on our radar. Said everybody that's joined EXP, right? But we had to make that decision, and we made it because we felt like the people here at EXP aligned with where we were and where we wanted to go. So to answer your question, that's just one example of identifying we are at that spot where we need to make a change, and then doing the research on, what is the next best move and who is it with. And I think that scenario applies to basically everything. But I just want to, start there.
Awesome. And so let's go back a little bit. How did you guys come together? Like, what was your role within the brokerage and what was her role? I would assume that she was more on the real estate transaction side and you were more on the sales training kind of that, but that's just an assumption. So I'll let you know.
Integrator. That was basically my role on her. Ultimately, we created a leadership team. But I was, and I would even say I still am, because we're business partners when we took the company to EXP. But definitely integrator. I'm like the person that integrates. She's more the visionary. Rah. I'm the one that's like, oh, it's good, but maybe we should think about X, Y, and Z. Yeah. So that was essentially, originally when I first started, I started doing her transactions. I was like seeing her like paper files.
Yeah.
So I started in that, but then as we grew, obviously that was my ultimate role.
Right. So in integrations, you're having direct connection with the agents. You're helping those agents. How many of those agents came over with you guys when you transitioned?
Oh, I think we had all of them came initially, okay. Right?
That's not. To be assumed. I'll tell you that right now.
They all came. There were a few that left right after. Mm-hmm. And I think we ended up with about 30, and then it's been like, rebuilding. And so we're at, I want to say collectively nearing 100. I think 80 something is the nearest count. So
now what has that, like, obviously with the agents and coming over, you guys do not have a production team anymore, or do you still have a production team?
Well, Courtney does. She has a small production team. I believe she downsized for sure. Now she has people in her specific market that have chose to keep utilizing her brand, right? But they're not on her production team.
Okay. Perfect. So she's kind of grown that as a rep share kind of production pseudo, mix there.
And helping with the brick and mortar. She kept 2 brick and mortars. So
perfect. That's huge. So now in your role as integrations, what are some things that you're seeing agents in a very tough market kind of just blah, as we were talking? Things have started to change here in Denver. But what are things that you're doing with agents to kind of help them through their plateaus? Like what's your role look like from, your brokerage and you're being kind of in the limelight to being a business partner in a revenue share setup?
So now, one of the things that we're doing similar to you, we do a weekly mastermind. It's called Fast Break Friday. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm in the space where I have been able to meet, as you know, I have met so many incredible people that know so much more than we could ever know collectively together in this space. And that's related to real estate and not related to real estate. So even if we're going to talk real estate about being at, a particular plateau or struggles, a lot of personal stuff is what's actually happening that might be holding you back from getting the other stuff done. So now that we're in this world with EXP, I have met so many people that we bring to the table every single week. And those are agents from other brokerages. Those are people in our upline. Those are coaches that I've met. It's a collective group of individuals that I pull from. And we get on these masterminds and it's just mind blowing. I just had an agent from Remax down in Southern California who talked about how she was selling $1 million properties at the beginning of the year. Obviously, things were changing. She saw the market shifting and she decided to do an analysis on what was actually selling. And she identified it was a mobile home park. Mm-hmm. Okay. Median price of $350, $400. And she just put this entire campaign together and just dominated the market this summer. And she came on the mastermind and said, here are my templates. Here's my Canva. Here's the vendor I used. Here's the person that did all the farming. Here you go. Mm-hmm. And so I'm doing the same thing.
You're selling mobile homes.
She's like, didn't see myself doing that. But to your point, people are like, I got to pivot. I'm not getting the business I used to. What am I supposed to freaking do? Yep. How many people think about doing that?
Right. Yeah, that's incredible. And I think that's, only a testament to being able to find the winners in the market and making those, because there's such a push, right, to niche down and niche down and niche down. But they always say, you can still do other things, right? Because that's how they get new agents to, focus on niching down. But ultimately, if we can look at the market and we can say, okay, this is where we're going to win, you can gain market share like that. And if that's really what you're after and you're really about pushing your business forward, well, all of a sudden, if, from 2020 to 2023 and a half, first-time home buyers were struggling, right? And you had to be really good about getting them under contract and moving that needle forward to now where it's okay, if I get a first-time home buyer, I can put them in a house and they're going to have concessions and they're going to buy down the rate and do the thing pretty quickly, mm-hmm. right? You need to have those niches and you need to be able to shift mm-hmm. Within that if it's required, right? And I'm sure that.
Yeah. And then also just rinse and repeat, which is basically what she did. She's like, what do I normally do for this market, the $1 million market, and how I'll just do the same thing, just tweak it for this market. And the same thing with your point on first-time home buyers.
Right. Well, turns out that humans are humans, no matter how much money they have, oddly enough. So that's a good one. So talk about how you build kind of the atomic habits into that Fast Break Friday and kind of how important that habit is, because you touched on something that I think is undersaid in our industry when it comes to agent success and agent growth. And that's that there's usually a lot going on personally that they need. And I would assume that the atomic habits connection there helps kind of get that right so that they can be in the right mind space to grow.
I think that everyone, in fact, I saw this on the call. I was on the 200 club at 10, and I saw a comment of an agent saying, I just feel like I'm overwhelmed with work and life and balance. And that's every career, every person, everybody that's trying to make something move in a way that's successful. We all feel that way. And I'm that way right now. I'm trying to exercise. I'm trying to build my rev share. I'm trying to you really need to have the confidence to understand, like people say time management, right? Like that's the atomic habit saying of like managing time and time blocking and all that bullshit. It is, Courtney will say I'm the master of time management, but it's also being keenly aware of how you are spending your time. And when I say that, I mean, like when you are with your spouse and they're like, I need your help with this. It's like, nope. It's almost like the same thing of putting do not disturb. I'm not available right now for that. That has to wait. I'm doing A, B, C, and D. And so you can time block. Like we all time block 8 to noon. I'm going to make calls. Okay. Are you making the calls?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or are you checking out Ask the General on Instagram? Like seeing what she's putting down for us agents out there, right? Like that's the truth. And, you make a good point. I would say the flip also exists, right? And agents aren't very good at saying, when their phone rings and it's a commission check or it's a new agent who's looking to join, like, I mean, if you're going to say like, not right now, husband or wife, spouse, right? Then you need to say, not right now, clients, because otherwise we get in this very toxic flow. And I think that there's a lot to be said about that.
One of the things that I've always used, and this comes from my pharmaceutical career, is I always just try to use the communication specific to, is it unreasonable to or reasonable for? In other words, if I had to coach someone on this yesterday who was like, I answer the phone all the time. I'm available all the time. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with you saying I can't take phone calls right now.
Right.
Like, and if a client is upset with you, I had an agent call me 3 times and I'm like, when I talked to her, she's like, oh, I want to schedule an appointment to see that your listing. And I'm like, just so you know, when I put my phone on do not disturb, it means that I'm giving my attention to someone else or something else, which is the same attention I'm going to give you when I talk to you on the phone. Is that unreasonable for you to understand that I just needed a few minutes to call you back?
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, agents don't answer their phone and they don't do this. But the truth is if you're managing your time and you're teaching people to respect that time, but we haven't been conditioned like that, right? We've been conditioned to the 10-second dopamine effect, right? The 10-second dopamine hit from Instagram to TikTok to Sora now to all of, like, it's just like we need constant entertainment. And when we click a button, we see something on the screen happen, and that's like the response. And so, in real life and real conversation, that's the case, but it's extremely dangerous in this automated AI, driven world. Granted, I'm an AI proponent. I use AI. If we get so used to like ChatGPT, right? You send something in there and they'll send you something out, right? And sometimes it's complete BS and sometimes it's actually legitimate. But do we take the time to actually do it, or do we just call it good, right? And that's the piece about it, because if we're just automated and we're just input and output, we're replaceable by AI. Like, I'll say that right now. And if we can't keep the human element of conversation and respect of other people's time and that kind of stuff, we're in big trouble, I think, because
totally agree.
That's a great example of that. So talk about this collaboration. Obviously, you and your now business partner started at the brokerage, and how have you guys taken that idea of collaboration? Obviously something that was very successful with 50 agents and brick and mortar locations and things like that. How have you taken that collaboration to a different level in a way that helps those agents who partner with you?
Well, I think since we've been with EXP, we've done a lot of things that have already existed, just like you. Like most organizations within EXP all do weekly masterminds. Uplines do weekly masterminds, hold in-person events. We've done that too. So a lot of the things that we've done the last couple of years have been things that I think are relatively similar to what organizations within EXP offer, obviously just different people, right? I will say that the new idea that I had has stemmed from, moving down to a new area and trying to participate in local events with other realtors. And I have noticed in these meetings, I'm like, I don't really feel like I belong here. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just have felt, I've gone to a few of them in this community, all wonderful people, all great subjects. Just something has been missing for me. And when I kind of took a moment to think about what is it that's missing and what is it that I need and who do I need to be around, I identified the people that I really like to be around are the people that have wellness as the foundation and the pillars of their life. And I'm incredibly committed to living a healthy life, physically, financially, spiritually, mentally. All of those pillars are very important to me and my family. It's also important to provide that level of service to my clients and the people in my organization, and then also give back to the community in that way. And so when I sat here thinking about, that must exist, right? There should be an organization, and there's not. I'm like, how is there not an organization for realtors to collaborate and connect in this way? And so I'm just going to create it.
That's entrepreneur in you.
Yeah. So I think that's probably, to answer your question, the thing that's standing out, that's new, that I just launched last week was our first meeting here locally. And the outreach has been ridiculous. I mean, every single realtor I've talked to is like, oh my gosh, this is so needed. We don't take care of ourselves. We don't tap into wellness and somatic healing and how to really, really invest our money for generational wealth. I mean, there's the agents that just kind of do the thing, like get the buyer, sell the house, close the deal, and get the next one and move. And this space that I'm talking about seems to be an area that a lot of us are aligned with, but we just don't have a way to connect. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. And I think it's one of the most underserved, right? There's coaches out there to help you with lead generation and follow up and YouTube and Instagram and all of that. But what do we do with the money when it's over? Mm-hmm. What do we do with the money when we get that commission check, right? Because April 15th comes every single year. And only some of us are prepared for that. So certainly a piece. And the thing I love about your journey, and as we kind of talk about plateauing and agents burning out and all of this, notice this has nothing to do with real estate, mm-hmm. right? And I think so many times as an agent in production, we're like, okay, I'm plateauing, and immediately we're like, oh, interest rates are high. Mm-hmm. Oh, the market's this. Oh, the market's that. And I think the top of the top are able to separate themselves from the market. Mm-hmm. And that's because they're living a aligned mm-hmm. life. Not that nobody's amazing, but it was funny because I was at a Family Feud realtor event yesterday that one of my agents put on, which was incredible.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun.
It was awesome. I'll tell you about it. But one of the things was, what do agents not do for themselves? Mm-hmm. Right? Survey says number one thing was self-care, mm-hmm. right? Exercise. There was a bunch of different things that fall into self-care. That was the first time she ran it, so we'll give her a break on that. But ultimately, the overarching conversation in the room, or, when people mumble under their breath, it was like self-care is like number one. But what do we do for self-care? Mm-hmm. Like when the market changes, we're trying to, get 50-year mortgages, and we're trying to do portable mortgages, and we're trying to get buy downs and temporary buy downs. All of a sudden, like we try and fix it. But when we're all together, we know it. We know that it's a piece. Like we live out of our cars. We don't sleep. We don't eat, properly. We don't, maybe we drink a little too much wine, like all of those things. And I think that it's incredible that you're like, okay. And it's 100% because you're not solely focused on selling all the houses all the time, right? You didn't want to be a real estate agent. You're not technically a real estate agent until you say you are, but you found a way within this community now to really find that stride, and it's going to grow. So keep doing that. That's all I can say. Like, as far as growing that and, giving back, because ultimately we're an international company and corporation. And I think that there's massive success there. So when we talk about that and you identify like, hey, like maybe it's because you haven't eaten a healthy lunch in forever, or maybe you haven't worked out, maybe you haven't left your basement.
Or maybe you haven't just, so we did for the first meeting, we were supposed to go do a walk, and it rained. So I pivoted and I asked my transformational somatic coach that I worked with in the past if she would pop on and do a breathing exercise with these agents. And she was like, oh, this is going to be fun. Like these people don't sit still. So I was a little nervous. I'm not even going to lie. And when we finished the exercise, someone within my downline, actually a team lead, she said, I never sit still. Like physically, like mentally, I never quiet the noise. And so that was the first time. She's like 46 years old.
Yeah. And
she was like, that was absolutely amazing.
And I'll tell you, like, why I know this works? Like, who's the number one, like, inspirational business development speaker in the world? Like Tony Robbins, right? And he's got all kinds of this stuff infiltrated into his 8-hour sessions, right? Like 12-hour sessions. And so like people will do it if they pay enough money, or someone, kind of grabs them by the head and is like, hey, focus. And I think that's absolutely incredible, because we can't truly show up as good or as awesome as we think we are, top producer this, top producer that, without having that, grounding piece personally. The fresh air, like I did Live Hard, 75 Hard all the way through a couple of years ago, right? The outdoor walks were incredible. Do I do an outdoor walk every day anymore? No, which is dumb, but that's like clear headspace. You don't even know, right? And just talking about that and hearing that is absolutely awesome that you're bringing that to a small place. And I'll tell you right now that there will be recommendations made to some people at EXP to take that to a more national level when you're ready. I'll wait for that.
They've already reached out to me.
Oh, so. Weird. Shocking. But because it's so needed. So that's awesome. And I think that's kind of how you speak to that. And so for agents out there having, trouble, they're feeling burnt out, they've had maybe a down year, which is, didn't exist the last, 4 years prior to the last 2. Kind of what is your kind of self-identification for them? Like, what do you say when someone's like, man, I'm burnt out? Like, how do you diagnose that?
Sometimes it's one of those things of like getting down to the nitty gritty of like, why are you doing this? I mean, people talk about your why, but for me, it's like deeper than that. It's like, okay, because I remember thinking like, oh, my why is my family. You know what I mean? Like my why is to like, be a good role model for my daughter. My why, and that all sounds great, but it's like, no, really, why are you here? Why am I here talking to you to do the thing, to get the people? What is it? Like, you got to like reach in there and be like, why are we here doing this? And I feel like a lot of people just don't ever take the time to dissect that. And it may even be a question that's answered over the course of time, obviously writing and journaling about it and asking really difficult questions. And you can even use AI to like come up with questions to ask. I mean, you did, on like how to help you get deep in there, because if you can't figure that out, you might be in the wrong career.
And that's incredible, because I talk on stages every once in a while, and I always do something to like get the audience up. And the most successful one is like when I'm like, okay, everybody stand up. And I'm like, if your why includes family, another person, financial freedom along those lines, sit down. Everybody sits down. Right. So I'll say family or another person supporting another human, sit down. 85% of the people sit down. And there's the ones that are like, oh, I want to travel and financial freedom and I don't have family. And I'm like, okay, let's do a financial freedom or time freedom, sit down. Right. Everybody's sitting down. We have the same why. But then my follow-up is, if you have those things, why do we completely abandon them as we're growing? Right? As we're getting to that goal, why do we completely abandon that? So I think that bringing awareness to that and keeping that self-care piece at the forefront, because if you don't show up for your main why, you're not showing up for yourself, and you're not showing up for agents or your clients or whatever that looks like. And I think that if we can change the narrative in this industry to like, I'm not doing well because the market, because if you're completely relying on the market, you might as well be at a salary job. You might as well be completely relying on
go somewhere else.
A W-2 and a paycheck coming in and doing that.
And guess what? That's okay.
Yeah.
And that was like the second part of dissecting that why, but also like, I feel like there's a profound amount of fear, truly, that we don't want to tackle. We don't want to face the fact that there's something that is there that is actually holding us back. It's not the market. Like if it's your failure of failing, what happens if you fail? Like, let's go down that path.
Yeah.
You don't sell the homes, you don't get a paycheck, then what happens? Like, let's just run it down. Do you know what I mean? And people like don't want to, okay, then that means that I didn't do the thing I set out to do with this real estate thing. Okay. Do you want to accept that?
Right.
And like re-strategize and like get after it again and give it another shot? Or can you accept it and just be like, that doesn't change who I am. I'm still a wonderful person. Michelle can still go get a job doing great shit. Can go, you know what I mean? Like, so it doesn't mean you're a failure, but like having all of that discussion with yourself or a coach or a friend or whomever, or your spouse, a lot of people just don't want to do it. I mean,
right? We're prideful people. So that's awesome. So tell me a little bit about the future of the Live Well Realtor Alliance. Like what's on, I mean, obviously you just started week 1.
Oh.
I'm going to shift you. I'm going to be your visionary for this part of the day. Courtney's not with us, but yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
It's so hard because I tend to have I've had a difficult time being in the spotlight because I spent so long building Courtney's business and her brand. And so for me now, trying to build this organization, when we were doing the meeting, Courtney's like, do you want to tell everybody about yourself? Because it's new for me. But that being said, the vision that I have for this particular alliance is actually just figuring out, the short-term vision is figuring out a great name, because I'm not even sure that that's the name. But just the little things, the name, the frequency, the cadence of which we meet, how we create it on a larger scale, which it looks like EXP is going to help do that. And I ultimately, I just want to have an impact. I mean, that's been my objective. I feel like I've prayed on it a lot. I've been coached on it a lot. And this is what I'm meant to do, is to help people. And so I think this is the way that I'm supposed to do it. And bringing people like the somatic healer, bringing coaches that are in this space that can help us realtors understand, what's holding us back, what are all of the things that I've been able to do on my own, I want to be able to give to other people. Yep. So that's the goal.
Right. And you're starting it locally, correct? There's no national help yet.
No, I think EXP is going to help launch it nationally probably before the end of the year. I suspect that might be mostly like current EXP people, you know what I mean? And then I'm going to just try and continue to do it here regionally. Yep. Pretty excited.
Yep. So here's where I'm getting at with that. Like, if people want to know more, get on some sort of like wait list where they can get notified, where's the best place to follow you and let you know that?
Well, obviously Ask the General on Instagram, shoot me a message, because at some point there'll be like satellite people, if Jeremy's like, hey, I'm in Colorado, I want to like get the, be the boots on the ground in my local market. And there might be some synergy there with those new community. What are they called again? With the cultural centers. Correct. Thank you.
Brick and mortar coming to the cloud-based brokerage.
Mm-hmm. So there may be an opportunity there, right, for people that are going to be opening cultural centers to take something like this and use it. Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of things. So I would say just reach out to me if you're interested, and I'll start creating a list, and as we move forward, weaving people in accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, follow her on Ask the General. It's amazing stuff there. Michelle, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for the work you're doing for our agent community. And again, if you're feeling a plateau, if you're feeling that stuck, like, kind of take some retrospect, have conversations with other people, and at the very least, reach out to Michelle so you can get that. Ask the General. I'll link all her stuff below. Thank you so much for your time. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Pathway.